Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see everyone here today. We're going to talk a little bit about the TradeStation platform, and we're going to focus on three different areas of the platform: charting, scanning, and trading. My name is Jesus Nava. I am the Director of Client Training and Education for TradeStation Securities. Let's go through some disclosures here. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations of TradeStation, and active trading is not suitable for everyone. It is www.tradestation.com/important-information. And we also have the futures and the options disclosures towards the bottom in case that's the asset class you're trading and need a little bit details on the risks associated with trading those assets. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to switch over to my TradeStation platform. Here it is. This is the one that you install on the computer. TradeStation offers you three different platforms to trade on. Well, actually, there's a couple more that are out there that, depending on what you're trading, will give you access to those other platforms. But mainly, it's going to be three platforms. This one, which is the TradeStation Desktop, and it's the focus of today's class. We have the TradeStation Web Trading Experience, which doesn't need to download and install to just access the TradeStation platform on a web browser. And then we have the TradeStation Mobile. We do classes on all three. If you're looking for instructions on how to use any of these platforms, we have recordings of prior classes if you want to watch them before our upcoming live session. Manolo is also going to be sharing the link here for the recordings if you want to watch one of those prior presentations. So this is the TradeStation Desktop, as I mentioned earlier. When you first open it, you'll see the TradeStation Today workspace. There's a couple things here that I want to point out. First of all, here on the left, you have a box that shows a list of videos. These are videos that are designed to give you a quick start on a lot of the features and application of the TradeStation platform. You're welcome to watch them here from within the TradeStation Desktop, but you can also find those videos on the TradeStation YouTube channel. Right here at the bottom, we have recommended workspaces, and they're recommended just from a getting started standpoint. You know, sometimes we have challenges trying to set up our workspaces and knowing which applications to select. So those workspaces are there to just to show you different examples of traders workspaces that you can use. And maybe you can edit those, you know, remove anything you don't need, and then make it your own. But if you'd like to start workspaces from scratch, that's also an option, which is what we're going to do today. We're not going to use any of the recommended workspaces. Over here to the right, you have upcoming events. So in addition to seeing the events on the events page, when you go to tradestation.com, you also have a view of the upcoming events from within the TradeStation platform. So you're welcome to click on any of these dates here on the right-hand side. And you do have a very convenient register button right there within the TradeStation desktop. So let me go ahead and click here at the very bottom left. Button that I'm referring to is this one right here. Okay, maybe I don't need an arrow so thick. All right, so that's the arrow that I'm pointing to, and I'm just going to click there because that allows you to open up workspaces on the TradeStation desktop. The workspaces are going to be aligned at the bottom of your platform, and you can switch back and forth between them. So I click on the plus. It opens up a new workspace. I go to the apps menu right here at the very top. This is where you find all the applications that are part of the TradeStation desktop. You can see that there are many. We're just going to concentrate on three of them: chart analysis, radar screen, and matrix. But there's a lot to explore here. So that's why I mentioned, you know, the playlist on the TradeStation desktop that has many quick start videos referencing many of these applications if you want to learn about them. But let me go ahead and click on chart analysis, which is my first application, or the first application that I want to use. Chart analysis. Every time you need a chart, you can just go up here to apps and click on chart analysis. Let me resize it. I'm going to grab it by the corner and just make it fill the whole screen. This is a 5-minute chart of Microsoft. You can see the symbol and the data interval right there on the top left. you can change that, of course. TradeStation remembers the symbol or the last symbol you were looking at and the time frame that you were looking at, so that when you log on again and you open up a new chart, it'll be that exact same symbol and the time frame. So it helps you, follow up on what you were doing last time. So just remember that if you need to change the symbol, let me show you a very quick shortcut. You can just type the symbol in and hit enter. So let's say, for example, that I want to see Tesla. So I type in TSLA. Notice that I didn't have to press anything to get the command line to pop up, because as soon as you use your keyboard and press keys on your keyboard, you'll get the command line. And you can see TSLA inside the command line. And if I hit the enter key, TradeStation will take that as a symbol change command. So this works on any application in TradeStation. So for any application, if you want to change the symbol, just enter the symbol on your keyboard, press enter, and TradeStation will change it. In terms of time frame, you have a dedicated time frame dropdown right here, which helps you select from the dropdown. Unfortunately, this dropdown cannot be edited. So if you're looking for something that is not visible here, you'll have to go a different way to modify the time frame. But if I have the daily, weekly, monthly here, all the minute time frames, I have a few seconds intervals, and I have some tick intervals right here at the top. Now let me go to daily. You can also use the command line to change the time frame. So if I want to go back to a 5-minute chart, I just have to type in 5 space MIN. Notice that that's what I'm typing right there in the command line. I hit the enter key, and then I'm back on a 5-minute chart. If I want to go back to a daily, I just type in the word daily, hit enter, and I am on a daily chart. Of course, there are going to be menus that you can go to change these items. However, I think the shortcuts are very useful, and those are the ones that I show. But if you wanted to know which menu to use, just go to the data and edit symbol. And in the edit symbol dialog, you can change the symbol, you can change the time frame, and you can change the amount of historical data that you have on the chart. You can see that I have mine set to 5 years. On a daily chart, TradeStation gives you 2 years of data. And this is something that you have to be aware of. TradeStation will give you a default amount of data. And if you need more history, you'll have to request it. You can come here to data, edit symbol if you want to request more data. And you can set that as a default if you want every time that you pull up a 5-minute chart to give you, every time you pull up a daily chart to give you 5 years of data. Don't go don't go extreme here, because the data needs to be downloaded, and especially if you're using radar screen, it'll use these settings for that type of application as well. Let me go ahead and cancel out of this. The historical request can also be typed in as a command. Let me show you why you would want to do that. If I press the down arrow key on my keyboard, by the way, down arrow, up arrow, make sure you find them on your keyboard, because they're going to help you compress and expand the chart very quickly. If I press the down arrow key multiple times until it cannot go any longer, you can see that there's black space on the right-hand side. The reason for that is because I only have 5 years of historical data. So what you see on the chart is 5 years of historical data for Tesla, or price information for Tesla. If I want to fill the whole chart up, I have to request more data. So I'm going to type in 10 years and hit enter. Notice that I'm typing the specific data request. And when you type in things like that, like 3 days, 5 weeks, 5 years, the command line will interpret that as a historical data request. If I type in 10 years, then you can see that I get 10 years worth of Tesla price information. And again, I can press the up arrow key if I want to expand the chart and focus on what Tesla has been doing in the past few weeks. Okay. If I want to draw anything on the chart, I go to the drawing menu. One item that I like using on my charts is a horizontal line, because it's a quick way for you to set up a price alert. Tesla right now is trading at $217 and change. If we look at the market activity in the past few days, we did see a huge drop from October 8th. This is October what? October 18th. We had a huge gap right here, and the market has been, going down. It's kind of recovering in the past 3 days, but we are not really sure where, Tesla is headed. So let's say, for example, that we want to be notified whether Tesla goes above 230 or if it goes, below this low. We can set up two lines. So let me show you how you can do that. I'm going to squeeze the scale here a little bit because I want to set a horizontal line right there at the low of this candle and is right, touching the edge here, and it may be difficult to read. So if I squeeze the scale here, click and drag down, notice that it'll give me a little bit more detail on the pricing. I'm able to move the candles a little bit higher, and it allows me to do additional drawings if your candlesticks are kind of touching, the top or the bottom of the chart. So just remember that you have to squeeze the scale here by clicking and dragging. So let me go ahead and go to drawing, horizontal line. I'm going to drop the first one at 220. If you drop the horizontal line and it's not exactly at 220, by the way, I just clicked on the chart and it drew it. That's totally fine because I can double click on that trend line by formatting it. Anytime you double click on an item inside of the TradeStation Desktop, it goes to the customized dialog for that item, which is very convenient because a lot of times you're going to want to change the background, you're going to want to change the candlesticks. So here in the data tab, I'm able to change that to an even number, so 220, and then click OK. And I'm going to go here to the drawing menu one more time, horizontal, and I'm going to draw the other one. I'm going to draw it right maybe at 205, not quite the low. So, or maybe if I do want the low, I can just drop it here. That's 202.36. Now, one thing that happens is that when you draw a horizontal like this, I'm not really sure if the low of that bar is exactly 202.36. If you want to know the exact low of that bar, one thing you can do is click on the background and hold the mouse button. This will give you a data tips window. The data tips allows you to see detailed information on the bar where the vertical axis is. So I can see that the low of this bar is actually 202.51. Everybody sees it right there in the middle of the data tips window, 202.51. So if I want to make that the low, I can either go into the settings of the horizontal line and change the number manually, or I can try to push it up a little bit. No, sometimes that's difficult to drop it right at 251. There is a feature here in the drawing menu called snap mode that allows you to snap to prices on candles. So notice that the price of this, or the value of this horizontal line, is 202.48. As soon as I try to drag it and push it, towards this low, it'll attach to that low exactly, 202.51. So that's what snap mode does. Let me go to drawing and turn it off. So once you put in your drawing, then you can just come here at the bottom and reset the scale if you want. This is a resetting. It just resets the scale to the way you had it before. But one thing that I want to do also is get alerted if the price activity touches any of these lines. You can do that in the customize dialog. So let me go ahead and double click on this horizontal line, go to the alerts, and then enable the alert. Once I click OK, that trend line is, or the horizontal line is hot, meaning that if it touches the price activity, it'll give me an alert. Let me double click on this other one and enable the alert as well. So from a channel or trading channel perspective, you can set up price alerts so that you get alerted if the price activity, pushes towards those lines that you're drawing. Interesting concept right there. In the drawing menu, please explore with all the other tools that you have in there. Some of them require one click, like the horizontal line. Some others require 2 clicks, like a trend line. A trend line will have a beginning point and an ending point, and that, of course, determines the angle. You can do a trend line right in there. And some of them require even 3 clicks. For example, the Andrews pitchfork or some other drawing tools that require you to click 3 times on the chart in order to draw them. Let's go ahead and take a look at studies. I'm going to go to studies and click on add study because that's where all the technical indicators are going to be. When you go to the technical studies of TradeStation, they're going to be grouped in categories, and the 5 categories are here as tabs. The majority of the studies are going to be in indicators, but you have show me's, paint bars, activity bars, and probability maps. Those are all available to you. And one thing that I tell everyone who's getting started, if you find anything that is catching your eye, then just click on it. For example, if you want to learn about the parabolic SAR, notice that I'm clicking on it. It's highlighted in blue, and I can click on definition. TradeStation Help has documentation on each one of these studies that are added to the platform. Not only will it give you a chart, giving you a view of what the indicator looks like, it gives you an explanation on each one of the inputs that you can modify, in addition to a market synopsis and some additional information. So again, you can just learn about any of the studies that are here by clicking on the definition button. Okay, for this example, I'm going to use something simple that we can all relate to. I'm going to do a moving average two-line indicator. All right, I'm not going to change any settings yet. I'm going to click OK, and there it goes. You see the two moving averages working together. I didn't have to supply a parameter because it has some default, numbers. So it just selected the default numbers and displayed on the chart, but I can modify those if I want to. So let's say that I wanted to do a 30 versus a 60 bar moving average. All I need to do is double click on the moving averages and change the parameters. I'm going to do 30 versus 60. So 30 for the fast, 60 for the slow, and then I click OK. And notice how my moving averages are smoother. They recalculate. This allows me to have this indicator on multiple chart analysis and have them set to different numbers. So that's my study. And the same thing that we did to the drawing tools where we turned on an alert, because ideally I want to be alerted if these two lines cross. Notice how in the past few days, they're getting closer and closer to each other. But if they cross, if the fast crosses the slow, that may be a bearish signal on the moving average, of course. Let's go ahead and double click on my moving averages. I'm going to go to the alerts tab. Every study in TradeStation has this alerts tab that helps you, with setting up alerts. I'm going to enable the alert, and I'm just going to tell this alert once per bar, because sometimes if I leave it on alert continuously, and you have this movement of the moving averages crossing and not crossing every single tick, you'll get continuous alerts, and that could be a little bit annoying. So I'm going to click OK, and that's it. My moving averages are turned on for alerts. As soon as those two lines cross, I'm going to be alerted. Technically, I can go to a different workspace. Let me just click on the plus again here to go to a different workspace. And I know that the chart that I just created on Tesla with the two moving averages and the two horizontal lines are turned on for alerts. So regardless of what I'm doing on the TradeStation platform, I'm going to get those sounds and I'm going to get those pop-up messages as they come along. As long as the workspace is open, alerts are monitored by TradeStation. In fact, I can come here and go to apps. Let me show you something. Click on chart analysis. Then I make this a 30-minute. Go to apps, chart analysis, make this a 60-minute. Go to apps, chart analysis, and make this a daily. So now I have 4 different charts in my workspace. And what I can do is I can go to window and arrange them automatically in any particular way. If you like your charts to be vertical, you do arrange vertical, and this is what it does. So it puts the daily here on the left, 60, 30, and 5 on the right. Well, I thought this was 5, so let me change this to 5. Okay, so you can see how that's done. Now you can go to window and arrange all, and you have more of a 4-sectioned workspace, but those arrange functionality are useful for you to arrange all the applications you've opened in one view. And if you want to, resize these manually, you can do so as well. A lot of times I like to reduce these manually because sometimes you want to give one of the charts a little bit more prominence than the other. For whatever reason, maybe that's the one that you trade on and you just want to have this set up like this, So now all my charts have different, sizes. And I did that because I just resized them using the columns. Okay, let's go here to my new workspace, and follow the same concept that we started on moving averages. Let's say that, yes, your moving averages is the technical indicator that you use as the basis of your signals. And you're monitoring multiple securities on the moving averages, two-line crossover. Of course, this gives you, or this presents some limitations in terms of how many symbols you can follow. Now, if I go back here to this workspace where I have 4 different charts, yes, I could potentially have one symbol or a different symbol in each one of these chart analysis windows and apply the moving averages to each one of them, turn the alerts on, and then I have the moving average being monitored on 4 different symbols. But ideally, you want to be able to scan the markets for technical ideas or alerts that are happening at the present moment. So that's where Radar Screen comes into play, and it's going to be a great tool for you to use. So let me open up Radar Screen and show you its capabilities. Let me resize this. Radar Screen is also a watch list, so you can type symbols here manually. So I can go here, Microsoft, Tesla, Disney, Home Depot, whatever stock or security I'm following, I can just type it in there manually. If you're a futures trader, you can do ESZ23 if you want to. You want to do a continuous symbol on crude oil, you can do that as well. So possibilities are numerous when you work with the Radar Screen. One thing that I like to do is use a symbol list. So let me remove all those symbols that I just added. I just highlighted the list of symbols and pressed delete. I'm going to go to Data, Add Symbol List, and we have pre-packaged list of symbols that come with the TradeStation platform. You can go to Other Symbol Lists, and this opens up a dialog. We have some lists created by Reuters, and you have some, TradeStation symbol lists based on industry groups. So come in here and explore all the different symbol lists that we have packaged for you. It's going to help you, populate your Radar Screen with multiple symbols, and at the same time, follow different sectors. I'm going to go to the Data tab here, go to Add Symbol List, and I'm going to choose one of the indexes that is right here on this menu, the NASDAQ 100. This will add the 100 symbols that make up the NASDAQ 100 index. A couple of things that I'm going to do. I'm going to remove a few columns here that I don't need. For example, bid, ask, high, and low, I don't need. So I'm going to click on the bid, hold my mouse button, and drag to the right so it highlights the 4 different columns. If I don't click and hold, if I just click and highlight and I click it again, I'm changing its position. So you can change the columns order by clicking and dragging on the highlighted header. But if I click on the ask, hold it, and then drag it over, it'll highlight the columns for you. And I'm just going to press delete on the keyboard, and that's it. As soon as it has enough space on the right-hand side, Radar Screen is going to snake my symbols. So on the left here, I have 1 through 37, and on the right here, I have 38 to 74. I'm not sure if you have these numbers in Radar Screen, but I think I set those as default on my Radar Screen. When I come here to Settings and I go to Page, on the General tab right here, you have a check box for reference rows. That's going to add, the symbols on the left-hand side. And then you can, make sure that it's saved into a template if you always want that feature on. So you see the snaking feature, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this Radar Screen so that I just see one of the columns. I'm going to leave some space open here because I'm going to add a study. I'm going to click on the plus here on the right, or I can click on studies here at the top. It's the same thing. If I click on the plus, it's adding a study here. And I say studies and emphasize studies because any study that you can use in charting can be used here in Radar Screen, which is where the power of Radar Screen comes, because technical ideas that you would usually have to only see on charting can be brought over here as a Radar Screen and be applied to all the symbols you have inside of Radar Screen. So if I go ahead and I add a moving average here to my Radar Screen, I'm adding it to 100 symbols at once. That beats what I was doing on my previous workspace where I was adding a moving average to the 4 charts that I had visible. This is the way that you scan for opportunities on hundreds of symbols at a time. Let me go here to moving average, 2 lines right here. I'm going to add it, click on add, and then I'm going to move it down so it's right at the very end of my columns, and I'm just going to click OK. And that, of course, is going to calculate a value for the fast average and a value for the slow average. I want to see those here on a chart, so I'm going to bring a chart over from the one that I created. Let me go ahead and then bring my other chart. I'm going to go here to my other workspace. Remember this guy over here, the one that we created? I'm going to right-click on that chart, and I'm going to copy the window. This has come very handy if you are working on a single chart and you add indicators and you modify it, change colors, whatever you do on that chart, and then you want to go to a different chart, you can just copy that symbol. And then I'm just getting an alert here. I just got distracted. This is how the alert comes up. Notice that we're getting that alert on Tesla at 217.91. Oh, the moving averages are crossing. Okay, that's what's happening. We turn on the alert on those moving averages and they're crossing on a 5-minute chart. So what I was saying, you can create a duplicate of the chart by right-clicking, copy window. I'm going to come over here to this new workspace, right-click, and then paste window. And it brings that window over for me, and I can just put it right here. What I'm going to do now is format the moving averages so that they match. If you guys remember on this chart, I modified the moving averages. Let me go ahead and double click here to use 30 and 60. You guys remember? But if I modify the parameters here of these moving averages, I'm going to right click on the header so that I can format the whole column. Studies. I'm going to edit moving average 2 lines for all symbols. And in here, you can go to the inputs and you can see that we're back on the default parameters. So I have to change them to 30 and 60 so that my moving average values match. I'm going to click OK. And there we go. It gets recalculated. So for Tesla, the fast average is 216.57. I'm not sure if Tesla is part of the NASDAQ. It is. Tesla is part of the NASDAQ 100. And you can see that the fast average is 216.58, which matches my chart over here. But instead of following the symbols on a chart, we're following them on a column, which is really, really cool. Because what you can do here is you can set up an alert here on this column, and RadarScreen will tell you which symbols out of the 100 are giving you a real-time alert. That's where it comes very handy. I'm going to right-click on the column header again, go to Studies, and click on Edit Moving Average 2 lines for all symbols. I'm going to the Alert tab and enabling the alert. This time, I do want the alert to be continuous, and I'm going to disable Message Center Notification. So I'm setting that to none so that I don't get any pop-up windows or any sounds when I get the alerts. I'm using this more as I'm using the alert more as a filter than an alert mechanism, because I want to see which symbols are triggering at the moment. So that's where the scanning part comes in. I'm going to click OK. And notice that, I'm not sure if you can see it on the screen, but every single row at the very end, it has a little orange corner letting me know that there's an alert enabled. And sometimes I see red markers. Those red markers are the ones that I'm interested in, because those red markers are real-time alerts. So for example, for on or ON, I'm not sure how that's called, ON semiconductor. If that symbol is giving me a real-time alert on the moving averages, if I want to see it on the chart, one quick way to do that is to link your windows together. And this is also going to save you a lot of time. You link the windows together so that if you make a change in one window, it changes all the windows that are linked. The window linking buttons are right here at the top of each window. So the S for chart is a symbol link. I click on the S for radar screen, And now my two windows are linked, meaning that I can click on ON, and it loads right here in my chart. Notice that in the corner, it says ON, and you can see how the fast average is crossing at this moment. So what I'm going to do is, in fact, I'm going to change these to a daily calculation, maybe because I'm looking for daily crossovers, not necessarily 5-minute crossovers. And this is a calculation based on 5 minutes. I'm going to change the time frame here on my chart to daily so that my moving averages are calculated on daily bars. But I also have to do that here on radar screen. And you notice that radar screen has an interval column as well. We had to include an interval column because we're using technical indicators. And for technical indicators, you have to specify what data you want to use. I mean, you want the indicator to calculate on intraday, or you want the indicator to calculate on daily bars. So I'm gonna change the interval, and you don't do it at the interval column. I mean, logically, you would want to come here and change it there, but it's not done there. It's done on the symbol level because we did it on the symbol here in charting. Remember that you have to go to the symbol in order to change the time frame. And what I do is I can either, click on the header to highlight the whole column and then go to time frame right here at the very top and click on daily. So now you can see that the interval says daily, and now my moving averages recalculate. I still have some alerts from previously. So one thing that I can do, let me see if I find it. Data. Yeah, data clear triggered alerts. That way I can just concentrate on the ones that are being triggered at the moment. So let's look for symbols that are crossing right now. Well, on is not one of them. You can see how the moving averages are separated. So which ones are crossing? Very few. In fact, I only have one red marker, and that's for team. I click it, and you can see how the two moving averages are crossing right now. Is that a trading signal? Maybe now you need to come to the chart and interpret other technical analysis to see if they all align. But notice that I was able to identify a symbol that I wasn't watching. In fact, this is a symbol that I'm not really familiar with, but it stood out right here from my radar screen, and it's giving me a bearish signal at the moment. Now, from all the 100 symbols, it seems like that's the only one. In fact, I can use the filter bar right here at the top so that I can filter my list, and I don't have to see everything that I'm seeing at the moment. I'm going to go here to the drop down. I click on moving average 2 lines, and I can set this to alert true. And notice that it filters my radar screen. I only see the symbol that is triggering the alert. Impressive that from the 100, only one is triggering the alert at the moment. This, of course, is going to help you identify trading opportunities. Just imagine, having hundreds of symbols in radar screen and being able to just add a technical indicator and find symbols that meet the criteria that you're looking for. The colors you see right here on the chart, the blue line and the magenta line, are moving averages. So the blue line is a fast moving average, and the magenta line is a slow moving average. The current trading price would be down here. This one is the one highlighted in red. And it's in red because the current candle is a red candle. If I open up the chart here a little bit, you can see we have a red candle, and that's why the price is highlighted in red. But for any security where the candle is green, the current price is going to be highlighted in green. We can change the settings of my moving averages. Maybe they're just a little bit too restrictive. I'm going to go to the inputs. I'm going to set this to the original parameters, 9 and 18. And I'm going to do the same thing here on the moving averages. Right click, studies, edit moving averages, inputs. And I'm going to do, 9 and 18. So when I do that, of course, I'm getting more alerts because as we reduce the number of periods that are used in the moving average, of course, there's more opportunities for crossover. So now I can set this to alert true, and out of the 100, we have a total of, well, not counting the NASDAQ 100 index, I have a total of 7 symbols that are crossing. Apple is crossing right now. Take a look. ADP is crossing right now. Wow, huge gap on ADP. No wonder the moving average is crossed. Amazon is also crossing as we speak. So for any technical analysis that you want to use, Radar Screen will take it. Not only the ones that are supplied with TradeStation, but TradeStation is known to give you the ability to create your own custom study. So any calculation or mathematical formula you have in your mind, you can create that into an indicator in TradeStation and apply it to your radar screen. Okay. Yes, in that case, the blue line was 30 and the magenta line is the 60. Correct. And you can change those colors too. If I double click on my moving averages and you don't like the default colors that we use, you can go to the color tab and change the color for the fast and the slow so that it works better for you. And if you're used to seeing the moving averages in a particular color, you can change those here as well. Let's go and show you a little bit of trading. I'm going to go here to another workspace, go to apps, and I'm going to click on Matrix. This is the last application that we're going to show you. And it helps you put in trades. In addition to having, the chart here, I'm also going to open up a radar screen. I'm not a radar screen, sorry, a chart analysis. The reason why I'm opening a chart analysis is because the chart automatically shows you the orders. And one thing that I like to do is to watch my orders in relationship to historical price candles. I'm going to go here to time frame and turn this into a daily chart. I can link the two windows together. So if I change the symbol, I can do so. For example, I'm going to go to Verizon. So now see that I changed the symbol on one and it changed the other one automatically. So linking, that's what it does. And I changed the symbol by just typing it in. Now on the matrix, we see Verizon trading at 33.88. Everybody sees the price right there in the middle. On the blue and on the red, you see bid and ask. And you also see level 2. So not only you see the inside bid and ask, which is the best bid and the best ask, best buying price, best selling price, but you also see the other prices that are available. A lot of traders out there are sending orders to the market for specific prices. Verizon is trading at 33.90, but I may want to buy it at 33.75, a little bit lower right here, 33.75. And I can see there are already 1,551 shares waiting to get filled at that price. So you get visibility as to what orders have not been filled or what shares have not been filled. This is called level 2. If you don't see it on your TradeStation, it's probably because you haven't subscribed to the data packages. But that data allows you to see that type of information. And you can also use those columns to submit bid and to submit your own bids and asks or buys and sells. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's submit a trade on Verizon at 33.75, and I'm going to do it for 1,000 shares. The quantity is over here on the right. I'm going to type in 1,000. As soon as I hover over the blue, notice that I'm just hovering. I haven't clicked on anything, but you can see that the matrix is getting ready to buy 1,000 limit. So if I say I'm going to buy 1,000 at 33.75, so I'm going to click inside the blue. And that's my buying transaction at 33.75. Very quick, right? In fact, one thing that you probably noticed that I didn't get a confirmation. For my classes, I usually disable confirmations to avoid an extra step in my instructions, but confirmations are great because it tells you what you're trading, what it's going to cost you, how many shares you're trading, and at what price. So it's always good to review the confirmation before the trade goes through. But if you do want to disable confirmations to make this a one-click order entry tool, that is also something you can do. So I see that the price of Verizon is 33.85. I may want to improve my chances of getting filled. So I'm going to move my order to 33.80. And I can do that clicking and dragging. So I'm going to click the order and push it to 33.80, and I'm going to drop it there. So clicking and dragging allows you to change your bid. It's a cancel replace. We're canceling the original order and putting on a new one. In fact, you can join the best bid by just putting your order right here at the very top. Order filled. You probably heard my computer. It said order filled, and it filled me at 33.85, and it gives me a horizontal line letting me know where my fill price is. The matrix gives you P&L here on the left-hand side. So as the market goes up or down, you'll see profitability. My matrix, my chart here is not showing the orders because I intentionally turned that feature off. You can go to settings, account orders and positions to do the same if you don't like to see your trading on the chart, or if you want to do some analysis and the trading is in the way. If I go to account orders and positions, there's a status checkbox that I can check. I'm going to check it on, and that gives me, my current position. This is showing me a different position. I may have different Verizon position. Let me go here to the position graph bar. One thing that I noticed, I'm not sure if you noticed, but let me explain what's happening. I got confused because I was looking at my entry here, and it says that I entered, you can see it in the yellow, that I got filled at 32.48. And I was watching here in my matrix, and I said, well, that's not my entry price. My entry price is 33.85. So what's going on here? I got filled at 33.85 because that's where the market is trading at the moment. Well, it's trading a little bit higher now at 33.94. The reason for this is because I have multiple accounts connected to my simulator so that I can test, multiple accounts. And you can do that too. I mean, you can connect multiple accounts to your TradeStation. So this Verizon position that I'm looking at is not the position that I placed just now. In fact, if you look at my position graphs up here, you can see that I have two Verizons. So in order to see the trade that I just submitted, I have to change the account on my chart. So that is for anyone here that uses multiple accounts, something to keep in mind. Settings, that would be under account orders and positions. You go to account number. And I'm not really sure which account I'm using, but let's go ahead and switch it to 11. Okay, 11 it's not. So it's the other one. So account orders and positions. Account number, it's the one that ends in 13. And there we go. So now I can see my yellow line on the chart giving me my real-time position on Verizon, 1,000 shares. Now, in addition to sending orders, you can also send, targets. Let's say, for example, I want to, go to $150. So if Verizon goes up to 150, I want to sell my 1,000 shares. Notice that the red says sell 1,000. So if I click here, I'm submitting a selling transaction. You see the selling transaction right here on the chart? It's very close. I mean, the matrix just aligns the prices at a penny increment. So setting a $130 profit, well, I did say 150. So let me click and drag that order and drop it here at 150. But you can, drag that order to any place you want. And then I can, change the time frame here if I want to see a little bit more detail on those orders, And if I want to cancel an order, I just have to click on the little box here. Click, cancel. If I want to set a stop, I just click on a negative number, and that sends a stop. You can see it here on the chart. Cancel the order. But ideally, what I want to do is send an all-inclusive trade. And this is the last example that we're going to talk about, setting up an all-inclusive trade. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the questions. Let's go ahead and take a look at an all-inclusive trade for, let's switch the symbol here. I'm going to change the symbol to Bank of America. Let me go ahead and close my position. Order filled. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at Bank of America trading at 25.34. Let's suppose that I want to do an all-inclusive trade where I get in and I have my profit target and I have my stop loss already in one place, all planned out so that I can just leave the trade and let it play out. I can do that using this checkbox that says attach OSO. This is the way that you connect orders together. And yes, ideally, I want to connect my profit target and my stop loss with my entries. I'm going to use the very first template, which is an exit bracket with one limit and one stop, which matches what I'm looking for. And I'm going to go here to the ellipsis to specify what the offset is going to be. For my limit, I want it to be 20 cents. And for my stop, I want it to be 10 cents. So I have a 2-to-1 ratio when it comes to reward risk. So limit is my profit target, stop is my stop loss. And I click OK. So now if I place a trade, let's say that I put in a trade at, I'm going to buy at 25.30, it automatically puts in a stop and a target on my trade. You can see those here on the chart as well. And if I drag this entry order to the current trading price,
order filled,
I get filled, and then you can see how the profit target and the stop loss are being monitored as we speak. So you can see them here on the chart as well. If it reaches my target, the expectation is to make $200. And if it hits my stop, it's a $100 loss. So this is an all-inclusive trade that you can use right here on the matrix. And you can use other templates as well that have multiple targets and multiple stops. Those are all available on the TradeStation platform. But great. Thank you guys for joining me today. As a recap, we covered 3 different areas of the platform. We talked about charting, we talked about scanning, and then we talked about trading. I hope you got something from the class. Thank you guys for joining me today. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I hope to see you again on a future class. Goodbye, everyone.